Good morning, happy Tuesday. I'm going to be reading the first two poems in our books 2.1 on page 137. Today I'm going to be reading Pete at the Zoo and Keziah. So let's see if there's any similarities between these two poems. Let's start off with Pete at the Zoo. Just by looking at the picture, I'm predicting that Pete is not going to be a human. Pete is going to be an elephant. Let's read to find out. Remember, poetry often has rhyming words, so listen as Miss Flower reads and see if you hear anything that rhymes. Pete at the Zoo. I wonder if the elephant is lonely in his stall. When all the boys and girls are gone, and there's no shout at all, and there's no one to stamp before, no one to note his might, does he hunch up as I do against the dark of night? Wow, my friends. I did not hear any rhyming words, but what I did notice was I noticed a lot of words that repeated themselves. And if we take a look back at our poetry anchor chart, right here on page 135, our poetry anchor chart, the purpose, to arrange words in a creative way to help readers think or feel. Some poetry has different elements. Some elements could be that they have words that rhyme, words with the same ending sound like cat, hat, bat, sat. Our poem didn't have that. Let's go to the next one. Rhythm. The pattern of sounds. I don't think I heard very much rhythm in that poem, but I'll reread it just to make sure. Repetition. Words or lines that repeat. Miss Clover did see repetition, words that repeat throughout the poem. Imagery, words that paint a picture in your mind. We do that in class all the time. We draw our pictures to help us visualize. Synonyms for imagery is visualizing. And then we have stanzas, a group or lines of poetry. Whenever we're reading a book, most of the time our books have actual paragraphs, and we know that a new paragraph starts whenever it's indented, but poetry is actually organized by lines. You see this 5 here? This is the 5th line in our poem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this poem has 8 lines. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to reread, and I'm going to look for those repeating words now that I know that my poem has that element in it. I wonder if the elephant is lonely in his stall when all the boys and girls are gone and there's no shout at all. And there's no one to stamp before, no one to note his might. Does he hunch up, as I do, against the dark of night? So this poem is actually asking, before I move on, let me find my not my rhyming words, my repetitive words. It says, and there's no one. So, and there's no. So what this poem is asking us, how do you think that Pete the elephant feels after the zoo closes up and there's no kids screaming and making loud noises? How do we think that Pete feels? Does he hunch up at night? Does he curl up and he's afraid of the dark, against the dark of night? How do you think that Pete feels? Try and talk to your parent about how you think Pete feels. All right, next poem on the next page is Keziah. Here is a picture, what we're probably going to be visualizing about. Ooh, I hope that's not Keziah being bad underneath the table. I hope he doesn't knock those flowers off. All right, remember, for our poetry, we have to be looking for rhyming words, a pattern, or repetitive words. So here we are. Let's start with Keziah. Oh, let's start off by counting how many lines we have in this stanza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, there's 8, just like our last poem. Let's see if there's anything else that's the same. Keziah, I have a secret place to go. Not anyone may know. I think I know. I think it's right under the table. And sometimes when the wind is rough, I cannot get there fast enough. Sounds to me like Keziah gets kind of afraid whenever the wind is strong and blowing. And sometimes when my mother is scolding my big brother, scolding is when she gives that mad look. I already do see 2 repeating words, and sometimes. My secret place, it seems to me, is quite the only place to be. It seems like Keziah really likes hiding in his secret spot. However, in this poem, it did not tell us where his secret spot is, but based on the imagery or the visualization, Keziah's favorite place to be is hiding under the table. So I'm going to underline, just like I did last time, those repeating words, and sometimes when, and sometimes when. All right, my friends, I'll be back tomorrow to read the other 2 poems, and then Thursday I'll review our assignment with you. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. Have a good day.